IVM.
Okay, guys, we have another week that has gone by without football, which means another 1 pound that has been added, at least on my tummy. And I'm sure on Karthik's tummy. If you follow Karthik on Instagram and the quiz that he runs on What's Cooking, it's pretty easy. There's just about 5 dishes that he can usually make. So it's pretty easy to guess what that it's not a contest as such. But yeah. Well, 1 more week without live football.
I love the fact that you talk about cooking and there goes the cooker.
sound effects. That's called sound effects. Yeah. But yeah, no live football unless you've taken Karthik's advice and have found some stream that are or somewhat live streams from Burundi.
Burundi, Belarus, Nicaragua, I think the Philippines, and there's one more country.
Taiwan, right?
Taiwan, yeah, Taiwan.
Yes.
Correct. Yes.
Wait, there is a fourth voice on this podcast?
Yes, there is a fourth voice on the podcast.
That?
And by that voice, you now know how much knowledge that person possesses. Because me, Shiva, and I had no idea Taiwan was the answer. And we still don't know if that's the right answer.
Where is Taiwan?
Good question. But the voice that you heard is of Manas Gera.
Hey, guys.
Yeah, that's not the first time you heard that voice. Manav Gera, in his own words, is an on-ground presenter with Facebook for La Liga's broadcast to South Asia. That's a lot. That's a complicated sentence for me to understand and comprehend.
He brings you La Liga on Facebook, and everyone knows that Facebook has the rights for broadcasting La Liga in India. So
South Asia.
South Asia then. So he's basically, so you're following our episode with John Dyke. So technically, this is in the same line, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
So humble, Manas, very nice.
Yeah. So we're getting people who are actually in the industry, and of course we're going semi-global with Southeast Asia now. We've ventured outside of Bombay. No, we ventured outside Bombay with Karthik, but we went to Bangalore. But now we ventured outside of India into Southeast Asia. So after that fantastic conversation we had with John Dyke, which was extremely insightful, we now have Manas with us because we thought we'll also divert a little outside the Premier League into the second most popular league in the world. That's what we would like to believe, which is the La Liga, which had a fantastic player and has a few semi-okay players.
Nice. Sapre has won the quiz at the end of this podcast.
Who are dying to come and play in the Premier League and ISL, of course, I'm sure. Eventually. So before we venture into more information and we'll have a chat with Manas, we will quickly get into a short break.
How many times have you motivated yourself to improve your sleep or lose weight or be more productive? How many times have you failed? Hi, my name is Ashton Doctor. Tune into my show, The Habit Coach Podcast, where we focus on creating small, tiny habits to improve your life instead of those big, impossible tasks. So make listening to me a habit every Monday, Wednesday and Friday on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com or on your favorite podcasting app.
Since you can hear me speaking, you must know that we are back from the break, and we just.
It almost sounds like Sapre is giving us some bad news, right, guys?
Yeah.
We're cutting in from that story to give you some breaking news. I don't want to say people have died because that's actually happening. So I don't know what is less worse.
But I have died of disappointment because I've just realized that Karthik's wearing something which looks like an Arsenal third kit to impress Manas Gera, who's an Arsenal fan. So this is disappointment by death.
So there are today's Arsenal majority on this podcast by definition. So Manas is an Arsenal fan, I am an Arsenal fan, and Karthik is wearing Arsenal colours. That just leaves you.
Yeah, but enough about Karthik, Shiva and I. Actually, enough about Karthik and Shiva. We can talk about me. But we'll first speak about Manas. Manas, let's get back to that. You're an on-ground presenter with Facebook for La Liga's broadcast to Southeast Asia. Let's please clarify that. What do you do?
Okay, yeah. So it's not Southeast Asia. It's just South Asia for now. And so basically, Facebook bought rights about 2 years ago to host or to broadcast La Liga to South Asia. And when I say South Asia, it is 8 countries: India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, there's Nepal, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Maldives, Sri Lanka. These are the 8 countries. And yeah, man, we've bought the digital rights, which are the exclusive rights in this time. And I am the on-ground presenter for these guys. So I am going to these grounds and bringing stories from these grounds. And it isn't a very orthodox role. It's not something that's been done too much before. I'm bringing stories from the ground, which are not exactly like a reporter, but more of a storyteller, like almost a vlogger. So yeah, man, that's pretty much the gist of it.
Oh, that's incredible. Yeah, I don't know. There are a lot of people who get an opportunity to do something like that. And now I'm sure with La Liga's popularity because of Facebook streaming it, there's a lot of scope in what you do, yeah, which is great. But we'll talk more about that. But I'm more interested. You started working for Mumbai City FC, isn't that right?
Yeah.
Let's talk more about that. Yeah, come on.
Okay. So, I'll tell you that I did a bunch of things to eventually get here. So, I firstly, like all of my professional choices since I graduated have been dictated by football. So, I used to intern in social media back in college. So, I knew I was decent at social media. And then I figured out right after graduating the agency that handled Mumbai City FC's social media, the digital account. And that was The Glitch. So, I got into The Glitch to handle social media for Mumbai City FC. And then 2 years later, I left The Glitch. It was a great time. I learned a lot at The Glitch. And I left The Glitch. I started writing for Sportskeeda, football section. So I eventually became the Sportskeeda representative in Mumbai. So any players that used to come to Mumbai, like there was Paul Dickov would come to Mumbai. He's a former Manchester City player. So I got to interview him. I interviewed Indranil Dasbla from Mumbai City FC. Farhan Akhtar, who was the Champions League brand ambassador for that year.
Oh, really? Is he?
Yeah, he was.
He's the Champions League brand ambassador. Farhan Akhtar, what qualifies him as the brand ambassador for Champions League?
No,
he rocks on, okay? He rocks on.
Oh my God. Yeah. But I have something in common with Manas because back in the day, I used to write for Sportskeeda as well. And I used to get paid, I think, $500 or $600 an article.
What the hell, dude?
I didn't pay.
Moving on.
Yeah, so this is the money I used to get, and I used to spend this on Domino's. And then Cheese Burst had just come in. I didn't know why that was important, but I feel the need to tell you.
That's important, dude. Cheese Burst is always important.
Sorry, tell us.
So after The Glitch, when I was doing social media, I started writing for Sportskeeda. I was at this time I realized that I wanted to be a sports presenter. After 2 years of The Glitch, I left The Glitch because I realized I wanted to get into football a little more deeply. So I wanted to be a sports presenter. So for that, I did about 3 to 4 things. One thing was writing, as I mentioned, with Sportskeeda. The second thing was acting. So
does that work?
Yeah, exactly.
Neymar, like Neymar acts when somebody just like passes by him. That's acting. It's important to get into football.
So the thing is, I wanted to get more confident in front of the camera. So I was that guy who was very awkward in front of the camera.
You had classes?
No classes. I just went to Aram Nagar in Warsaw. I stood outside.
That is the headquarters for Bollywood.
I stood outside the headquarters of Bollywood, and yeah, I met some casting directors, and I got into quite a few ads. I did ads for.
Wait, sorry, I'm going to just stop you there. So you went to Aram Nagar and just stood there on the road.
No. So I had a few friends who were in the industry, and they told me Aram Nagar, all the bungalows are listed according to numbers. So they told me get to this bungalow number. So I went there and I gave an introduction. That's how these auditions work. First,
that sounds damn creepy. If you have to go to a bungalow with a number, that just sounds wrong.
It is as creepy as it sounds, man. There were some very shady auditions, some topless auditions.
What?
As long as you had clean undies, we are fine.
So yeah, man, I used to stand like almost like in a prison cell to give my introduction, but eventually things worked out, man. I got quite a few ads. I got a little confident in front of the camera. So yeah, that was the second thing I did, acting after writing. And the third thing was I
Wait, you're not telling us any of the ads you were in. How can someone who's listening to the podcast go look up Manas Gera's portfolio?
Topless. Sorry, not topless.
Tapre, why don't you take this offline?
I didn't get selected for that topless audition, man. So what the ads I did, it was tough to explain this to my parents, but I got into a Tinder India ad.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
that is awesome.
I did an ad for Airtel, for Datsun, for Taco Bell with Tanmay Bhatt, with Amir Khan. So yeah, there were quite a few ads. In Mumbai, there's no shortage of this, man.
Amir Khan was in a Taco Bell ad, is it?
No, Amir Khan was in the Datsun ad. Datsun is a car company.
Of course.
Separate Taco Bell nahi aayega, tum tension mat lo.
Taco Bell was Tanmay Bhatt.
Yeah, but Vadala mein none of these ads are aired. Yeah. They have only those local cable companies, groceries and shit.
Oh, so yeah, man, I did ads, writing, and third thing I did was I did YouTube. Like, there's quite like you guys, I got a couple of friends home and we just shot in front of a camera. We spoke about football. And yeah, these three things. And like for 2 years, I always occupied myself with these three things: writing, YouTube, acting. And actually, fourthly and very importantly, I met quite a few really nice people from the industry who helped me out in the industry. And I mean,
so who's paying your bills?
Great question, man. So advertising like gave me a decent amount of money. Like, it was like I used to get my Cheeseburgers pizzas with advertising money, so that was
nice.
more than I could ask for. And Sportskeeda was, okay, let's not talk about that.
Exposure, you got exposure.
Yeah, and I used to do freelance. I used to still freelance in social media, so that used to cover my bills. So yeah, and as I said, most importantly, I met people from this industry who were really kind to me and who helped me in this industry.
So how did you go about meeting these people? Just like go to parties? Like what is that guy's name from this one Gully Boy? Like that guy who went to a party and got spotted. Yeah, Siddharth Chaturvedi, right? He got spotted. Karthik, you have something to say?
So you go on YouTube, you type Manas Gera out. Okay, the first video that comes up is from Glitch. meet Manas Gera, a brand manager at the Glitch, and this is a kicker, who'd rather be called a brand jazzer.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
this is one of those LinkedIn profile words.
I was so excited to come on this podcast. It's just kids and all.
It's funny because we have a connection with the Glitch because Varun also runs a podcast on the IBM network. It's called Advertising is Red. But anyway, I was digressing. You were telling us.
Oh, so yeah, man. So I networked with quite a few. Varun was an important person in this because, so as I said, I wanted to meet people in the industry. Varun helped me meet Gaurav Kapoor, who helped me with one of my projects. I spoke to Anant Tyagi, who is the chief football broadcaster at Star Sports.
Yeah.
And he's just excellent, man. He's a great guy. And like,
you know what, Manas, I think this is the second
time
podcast in a row. First, it was John Dykes last week or the week before when he mentioned Anant Tyagi, and you're the one. We need to get in touch with Anant. I think that's the next.
Thanks for all this. Putting this on my to-do list.
No. I know exactly how to go about it. You have to first go to Aram Nagar and stand outside a certain bungalow, and then you do a bunch of ads, and then you get to meet Anant Tyagi. But Manas, interestingly, you forgot to mention one thing that you did amidst all of this is attend a lot of Ganpati processions. Because that helped you with the shouting, as I may call it?
I don't know. So as I said, I in addition to these two things, I was doing a lot of freelance work. So there was an opening for a stadium announcer at Andheri Sports Complex. And when I say Andheri Sports Complex, I mean Mumbai Football Arena, Mumbai City's ground. So they said it's a stadium announcer, and I thought I'd be doing like professional things. I'll be announcing the team lineups, substitutions, news. They asked me to
and someone else is off, yeah.
Exactly, yeah. They asked me to chant Ganpati Papa and then Jeetega bhai Jeetega.
Oh, I remember this one time I went to, of course, Andheri Sports Complex where I think there was an India game or there was an ISL game. I don't remember which one. But I had folks visiting from the US, some of my work people. And I was like, dude, you totally have to come along and we'll watch like an India game. Or whatever, like a football game in India, and you'll see this, transpire live. And I go there, and the crowd is chanting "Referee Bhadwa," and this guy's like, "What are they saying?" I don't think you need to know what they're saying because it has no relevance whatsoever.
I was wondering if we can swear at this podcast, right?
Well, now you know.
Don't swear at the podcast, huh? There are quite a few people already who do that, so we need people of the other kind.
So yeah, man, Anant Tyagi was one of a really important person who helped me out when I was like doing very little things. He was very kind with his advice, and yeah, Anant Tyagi, Gaurav Kapoor. There were quite a few people like this. Radhakrishnan Srinivasan, who's himself a broadcaster for Star Sports.
Nice.
Jigar Fernandez. A lot of names, man.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So how did Facebook just call you up one day and said, "Why don't you come host our show?"
So I'll tell you how this worked. Yeah. So the last name I mentioned was Jigar Fernandez. Jigar Fernandez also one of the finest creative minds I've seen. He used to work at Culture Machine, whose client was Sony at the time. There's a lot of connections over here. So I got in touch with him. So I used to go around trying to like reach out and pitch ideas to a lot of people. So I got in touch with him, and Jigar pitched me to Sony. And that was a month, not even a month, a week before the FIFA 2018 World Cup was starting.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a coincidence that Culture Machine, where Jigar works, was the digital agency for Sony. And they were handling Sony's World Cup campaign, which was called Dusri Country Diaries.
Right.
Meri Dusri Country.
Yeah, where you support another country because India is not playing. That was their field, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I came up with an idea, which was a branch of this idea, me and Jigar, in fact, and the team, we came up with this idea where I'll like document these fans who have their Dusri countries. And India had some incredible fans who had Dusri countries. People were crazy about Argentina, Brazil. So we pitched it to Sony, me, Jigar, like with me being the presenter, going around the different parts of India. And Sony liked the idea. And I eventually had my own show on Sony called Dusri Country Diaries, which was during the World Cup pre-show. And that was fun. And that is where, coincidentally, again, I met Joe Morrison, who was the host of the World Cup. I met him at the water cooler.
I had Joe Footy.
Correct.
Twitter.
So Joe Morrison, I met him at the water cooler. And this was like when I'd come one day to just see how my editing was going, like how they edited my films. And it was completely by chance I met Joe Morrison at the water cooler. And that's where I got in talking with him. And Joe Morrison, like all of us, like we've been watching him for a decade almost. Yeah, him, Budgie. And yeah, so I spoke to him and Joe remembered me, and Joe then eventually pitched me to Facebook.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That is a mad story. And I like how casually you just mentioned, yeah, my show was in TV. I don't think a lot of people have their shows on TV, man. I think that's pretty big.
So that Sony show came after 2 years of Aram Nagar auditions.
That is incredibly quick, isn't it? Like from what I've heard of struggling folks coming to Bombay and trying to find a way into a crowd, and there'll be one face and then they'll freeze frame it and print it out. You ended up on TV within 2 years of standing outside a bungalow. That is fantastic.
I'm grateful for this. Joe Morrison, also another guy who's my mentor right now. He's a legend of the show, and like it's crazy how he's my mentor at this time.
Do you have anything? You said Budgie. We love Budgie, man. we always send questions to Ask Budgie, #Ask Budgie. We never get picked.
Those aren't questions, Shiva.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm sorry.
What do you mean? Can you give me an example? I'll ask Budgie personally.
No, but tell us, do you have any cool stories with Budgie? Because I think everyone who's listening to the podcast has, for sure, they have an opinion on Budgie.
Oh my God. So I was fascinated by Budgie, man. I still remember there was a Champions League final at that Delhi club, and he was wearing, at Delhi, the name of the nightclub was Underdogs, and 10 Sports decided to broadcast the Champions League final with the studio in Underdogs, that Delhi club. And Budgie was wearing studs. Budgie was wearing football studs under like a 3-piece suit.
Oh, really?
So yeah. So the first
Why?
thing...
You can ask Budgie.
Exactly. I had that question. And like one of the first things I did was I went up to Budgie. Like when I first met him, that was like one of the first questions I asked him. And Budgie's a legend. Budgie. So it was basically an hour before that broadcast. Adidas came up to 10 and they're like, listen, can you show this boot on the Champions League final broadcast?
These brand managers, I tell you now.
Yeah, exactly.
They have no sense of timing.
So they're like, listen, we need you to like exhibit this boot on the show. And Joe was having none of it. Yeah? Joe, I'm sure Budgie would have been pretty happy to like show it. But Joe was like, listen, we need a little more creative to put this up. And they said, Budgie, wear the shoes. And the brand manager was happy. Budgie was very happy. Joe was happy. And that's how the shoes went on to Budgie. And this is just one of the so many stories where this guy's a legend. And you know, he's really funny on TV. When you meet him personally, he's so funny, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, you guys should pitch an idea called Budgie Stories. You have like a 6 month of catalog to fill in.
It's not a sitcom, Sapre. It's a football show.
But Budgie's a legend, man. Like,
Wait, go back to Facebook. So Facebook called you through Morrison. And
Yes.
So you said, cool. And then what happened? Like, you're not giving us all the meaty details. Like, if someone had to expect a call from Facebook and said, hey, you're going to travel to Spain and you're going to be covering football with the likes of Messi playing like a couple of meters away from you. You are being very chill about this. I don't know why that is.
Yeah, actually, yeah, man. But
Facebook would have been sorry, Manas. We can only put you up at the Marriott. That's all that we can afford.
Only 2 queen beds we can give you, not 1 king bed. Sorry.
I can talk about this forever, dude, and I have a tough time not getting overwhelmed by all these things. But it was honestly overwhelming. So I'll tell you what happened. So one day I got a notification on my phone that Joe Morrison has added me on LinkedIn.
Of course, that's how it all starts.
Which is a little embarrassing because I should be the one doing that. And then Joe told me that they want to do this kind of a series. Will you be up for it? And I try to be very chill on the email. I'm like, yes, certainly. Kind regards, Manas Gera.
Sure.
I was losing the plot inside. Yeah. So, and then Facebook representatives got in touch with me. I sent them my work from the FIFA World Cup. I sent them my work from the Gaurav Kapoor project I did. I sent them my work from Mumbai City. So the all 2.5 years of work were invested in this, and I sent them that. And so I sent Facebook, and they were like, this is a South Asia broadcast, and we'll be looking at a lot of candidates from South Asia. So I didn't think that there was much of a chance at that time, but then I followed up again after 3 days. And I think following up is crucial in India. So to follow up, I just didn't write, listen, I'm just following up on the previous mail. I made a website for myself.
In 3 days?
Yeah, Wix is a really cool
nice plug.
medium.
Very cool. Wix, if you're listening, this is a good place to put your money in.
So I made a website on Wix where I put up all my work in like a organized manner, and I sent it to them as a follow-up. Hey, I'm just hanging around over here. No worries. I'm just going to show you my website. See it if you like it.
Sweet. Cash.
Yeah, cash. I try to be ultra cash, but at the same time, I was convincing them, listen, I want this very badly, and I think I'll do a great job for it. And yeah, like the emails went on for like 5 months, like the back and forths.
Wow.
Yeah.
You should have tried Facebook Messenger. Joe Morrison adds you on LinkedIn, and through that you're trying to get a job at Facebook.
I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to be the person saying it.
So yeah, that happened. And the reason it went on for 5 months is because there was a visa issue as well. I started my work in November, and which was already like 2 months into the season. So the business visa, the Spanish business visa was a slight concern, but like we got everything sorted out eventually. And yeah, that's how Facebook happened.
Oh, the struggle is real, man.
The struggle was definitely real, dude. Yeah.
Ayer is awfully quiet. Ayer has the same dreams, actually.
What I was thinking, we saw you first on television for which Classico was it? This season, the first one, right?
Classico, yeah.
December 18th.
This was at the one at the Nou Camp.
Camp Nou, yeah.
And the second one was cancelled during this season. I'm forgetting what happened. Yeah,
they postponed it.
They postponed it.
So the first Classico was postponed because of riots in Catalonia.
So you had gone for the first Classico only, which was in December.
No, exactly. So fortunately, I didn't have my visa for the first Classico, and then whatever fate had it, the Classico was postponed to December 18th, which I got my business visa, and December 18th also happened to be my birthday, dude. So
nice! What a birthday gift, man!
Yeah,
I had my Classico birthday, so that was pretty insane.
Yeah, it was so cool. So I remember this. I think it was when it was late night. Yeah, I'm sure all of us were awake, including a friend of the podcast. Manas may know him, no, Karan? He should.
Yeah, I think he might, because we have played. So just to give everyone a background, I forgot to touch upon this. Manas and I have known each other for a while now. We've played on the same teams multiple times. We've played in the same team in the Roots Premier League, which is a very local Bandra, Juhu, Bombay league, and we've represented the same team. And I've played with Manas even before that. I think you were still with the Glitch, or maybe you just quit or something like that. And we also ran into each other I don't know if we ran into each other, but I did remember seeing you at the Arsenal coverage that you were doing in Singapore when the preseason games were on. The PSG Atletico. Because I remember Buffon, and I forget he moved to PSG. So that's why I said UA. And Arsenal was playing, of course. So we have known each other for a while. Yeah, I don't know if he knows Karan, but
what's his last name? Karan is the most common first name in India.
That is true, Manas.
Yeah. No, but we'll leave it at that. That probably wasn't the point of the question. The point was, how was it in the Nou Camp? Not whether you all know Karan Baikampadi or not. Like, how was it being inside the stadium? You were like a feet away, and I don't know. It's probably on most people's bucket list to watch Messi and Ronaldo. You have ticked that off. I hope you don't die soon, but you have ticked that off. And just how is it sitting there? It's Lionel Messi in front of you, the greatest player.
Yeah.
Maybe bar one that
yes,
we've ever seen.
Bar none, dude. Bar none. I've seen him live. It's bar none. So actually, yeah, being at Camp Nou, like it was everything that I'd imagined, man. It is overwhelming at first because it is the largest stadium in Europe. It is huge. Like when I got into the center, like when I was on the pitch, and it's not even, it's an arena, dude. It's like almost like Roman. It is surreal, dude.
It has 90,000 seats, right? Camp Nou?
99,000, yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah,
Is it bigger than Eden Gardens?
How much is Eden Gardens?
So Eden Gardens earlier could fit more than 100,000. Yeah.
No, I'm
So
not
because-
counting people who are sitting on the chhat.
Yeah, but you do, right? Because in India earlier that system used to never have single seats, bucket seats like they do now. You used to have only those long benches, so any number of people can come and fit on them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
It's like a Bombay
No,
local.
but I agree. I've been to Camp Nou. It's a beautiful stadium. Of course, when you take a tour, you're not allowed to go on the grass, but you can sit at the manager's chair and a lot of other places. And the museum,
I'm not allowed myself on the grass, by the way. I mean, like on the sidelines.
I feel good about myself suddenly.
But
yeah,
you did watch Messi play. You, on the other hand, went in the off-season.
I went in the off season, but the fantastic part about that stadium is the museum, if you may call. So that tour takes you a long time, and I've been to Stamford Bridge and I've been to the Emirates, and those tours take you about
So all the biggest clubs, basically.
3.5 minutes as compared to Camp Nou, which takes you a lot of time. There are actual trophies that are kept there.
So I'll tell you a story about the Barcelona museum. Currently, Barcelona are in a shit scenario. Okay, with what's happening, their board members are quitting left, right, and center. Their biggest place where they're losing money, apart from probably not having games and getting the television deals, is through that museum. It's actually causing a massive loss for them because it's that good, apparently. And I never knew Sapre that we've known you so long and you haven't said that you've been to the Nou Camp Museum. You sit here and you give your stories about sitting in Vadala, and we want to know about like. I mean, it's how many? We're 40 episodes in here. It shouldn't reach this stage.
Wait, Sapre, I'm not going to let you answer that because you clearly don't have an answer. Manas, tell us how it was like watching the players fight it out. And if I remember correctly, Madrid beat Barcelona's ass 2-0, right?
That was in the second Clasico, yeah.
The one you went for was 0-0, I think.
I went for both the Clásicos. My birthday.
Okay.
Thanks, Manas.
Sorry.
I went for both. You can ask me whichever one.
My birthday Clásico was 0-0. And that was the time there were proper riots in Catalonia, man. So that was a little scary as well. There was a small fire outside the stadium on that night.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, okay, to tell you how it was to watch Messi. So I'll tell you what happened here. So the first time I watched Messi was at Butarque. Butarque was the stadium of Leganés. That was my first match that I covered for Facebook. Sunny November morning, I went to Getafe and drove up to Leganés stadium. And over there, I was strictly focused on the task at hand. Yeah? So the earlier day, Joe Morrison had told me, Manas, listen, we need these stories. We need this. And I was focused completely. And for like 2 hours before the warm-up started, I was full into the zone. But as soon as warm-up started, my cameraman Joaquin, he told me, Manas, check it out. The players are coming on the field.
Is that like the Karan there?
Yeah, the Joaquin, right? Everyone did Joaquin.
Joaquin was the cameraman for that game. I have a new cameraman in every game. So that's one thing as well. No, it's because they outsource the camera people. So basically what I was saying was that was the first time I saw that royal beard, man. And I saw him walking onto the ground, that typical gait of his. And right now I'm just remembering that day. It was so insane, man. And I just saw Messi. And then Joaquin was like, Manas, let's go, let's roll. Because one of the stories was to shoot on Messi warming up. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time I saw Messi. And for 45 seconds, probably even more than 45 seconds, I was absolutely motionless. I was speechless at that point. And Joaquin is not a football fan, so he didn't really understand what's going on with me.
How is that even allowed in Spain?
What? Stand motionless staring at Messi? Everybody does that.
No, I mean not being a football fan.
Oh, yeah. So Joaquin just told me, Manas, Messi's here. And for like a good minute, I was just staring to it. It was...
After that, did you do the Indian journalist kind of thing? Where like, hey, then they start screaming, hey, Aishwarya, one bite, Aishwarya.
No, and like but I eventually got the story. I got a hold of myself after a minute and I saw Messi. And I'll tell you one thing about Messi that really strikes me. Yeah, we watch him on TV and he's insane. But the pace at which Messi plays and thinks, right? He's 32. He's older than most of the players on the pitch. The pace at which he plays is so far ahead of every other player on the pitch. And that was one thing that caught my eye because like those drop of the shoulder, the cuts, the quick passing, you barely have time. And he's doing all of that at the edge of the box. And I'm like usually sitting behind the goal that's where I'm usually seated during the match. And yeah, man, the pace that Messi plays at is just unreal, dude. And I'm grateful every match I watch him play. It's unreal.
That's awesome. Did you get to meet any players?
So the players, I can only interview the players who speak English.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So I haven't gotten a chance to meet Messi. So I've interviewed quite a lot of players. From Barcelona, I've interviewed Frenkie de Jong. I've interviewed Marc-Andre ter Stegen. And and from Madrid, I've interviewed Thibaut Courtois. And Shiva, you'd be happy to know that I interviewed Francis Coquelin from Valencia.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
Martin Odegaard, Madrid loanee at Real Sociedad.
Yeah,
and the Coquelin interview actually was something I requested. That was something that I personally requested the press officer.
Did you ask him about Arsenal or did you ask him about Sociedad?
क्यों किया तुमने ऐसा?
So I interviewed him right after Valencia beat Barcelona 2-0 at Mestalla.
Oh yeah, of course. I forgot that. Yeah.
And he was actually really good in the match. He got a yellow card.
An assist.
I am not sure about the assist. Maxi Gomez got both the goals. I don't remember about the assist. But I remember him. He got a very cynical yellow card with a foul on Messi at the halfway line. And it was as cynical as Coquelin gets.
Yeah.
It's the worst tackle you've seen in your life. And I wanted to ask him, I asked him in the interview after that, does it get any easier to mark Lionel Messi? Because it was his duty. Like he was a CDM and Messi was playing in that similar position. And I asked him, does it get any easier to mark Lionel Messi? And he just giggled it off, dude. He's like, no, never gets easier to mark this guy.
Damn.
And I asked him about Gabriel Paulista. So Gabriel Paulista, also former Arsenal player.
Yes. I do
playing...
remember making fun of Karan, who's like Karthik said, a friend of the podcast. And I said ex-Arsenal players basically beat Barcelona. Is what happened.
Who is Karan? Dude, we're talking so much about him. I need to know who this is.
Joaquin.
So
Paulista.
These are the players I met. It's crazy. So I get interview rights after I enter the stadium. So basically what my production house does is they put in a request to La Liga saying that we want to take interviews with the players. And only once I reach the ground on my accreditation do I know if I've got access to the flash area. Or I'll tell you what the flash area is. So the flash area, basically 3 areas right after the match where the interviews take place. One is the flash area, one is the super flash area, one is the mixed zone, and one is the press room. So the dream is the super flash area, which is immediately after the match. Players are like, they don't even leave the pitch. These guys come onto the pitch and take interviews. That is super flash area. Very exclusive access. Only La Liga TV gets access to that. And the club's official channels. And the second is where I fortunately get access to sometimes in the flash area. That is where we get to have one-to-one interviews with players. That is where I've interviewed all these players I listed. The third place is the mix zone. This is where every press house and the radio people get a chance to interview. And it's quite chaotic because you can't ask follow-up questions and basically a lot of mics on your face. And the fourth place is the press room where both the managers respectively come and get their interviews. So these are the 4 areas. I'm just getting to learn a lot about football journalism.
Manas, it's interesting when you say that you interview players in obviously language. It's only the English language which you can interview them in. So when they're walking through the flash area, do you know which players know English beforehand? So how does that work?
A good question, man. So this is something that every team has its own press officer. So these press officers make sure they take care of the people from the press. And like most clubs are very nice to the press people. They treat us very kindly. They give us whatever we want, water, team sheets. And so these press officers are the people you ask beforehand who are the English-speaking players, and you get the English-speaking players from them. And then you put in a special request for players who can speak English, but they choose not to speak English. There's some players who are not confident about speaking English, even though they can. So
like Sapre.
Players.
Dude, this is like one of the worst things that happened to me. So I was at Levante, Ciutat de Valencia Stadium, and Madrid had just lost to Levante, I think 1-0. And they have like one of the smallest flash zones where these interviews happen. And Zidane is one of the manager who gives interviews to these guys. And he was like 2 feet away from me. And Zidane is one of the players who makes me a little speechless. Like,
Yeah.
very few people who do that.
It is Zinedine Zidane, man.
Exactly.
Speechless. I was quiet on the John Dykes episode last week. So I mean, this is different level.
So Zidane basically he knows a bit of English, but then I asked the press officer, you can't speak to him directly, and the press officer said, "Do you know French?"
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, so and that was like the worst moment of my life, dude, because I wanted so badly to speak to Zidane, and unless you knew French or even Spanish, and I know a bit of Spanish, not enough to have an interview with Zidane.
Mm-hmm.
But Zidane knows Italian, right? From what I hear.
Zidane knows English as well, but as I said, there's some who would not completely comfortable with speaking English in a interview that goes out to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Everyone missed my Marco Materazzi joke. Damn it.
Nobody actually knows Italian. Yeah, he probably played for Juventus for long. I thought you were being serious over there.
I thought so.
Manas, be honest. You went to Zidane to ask him to take up the Arsenal job, didn't you?
Please, sir, please.
Please, hey, 5 दिन के लिए आ जाओ.
Send him an invite on LinkedIn.
It's okay if you don't speak English. We have no English players.
I don't
At least
understand
the good ones.
I don't understand.
There are
why
no good
rumors,
English players.
There's rumors of Pochettino taking up the Real Madrid job, dude. Like, it's crazy. People are thinking beyond Zidane at Real Madrid at this point. But yeah,
you're the official channel. We should be asking you these questions.
Yeah. Anything you say on this podcast will be held as truth. Manas, one quick question. How old are you?
I turned 26 on the day of the Clasico.
Isn't this... How the hell is that even happening? Like, you're already in Spain reporting on the La Liga and you're only 26.
I'm glad I have 6 more years, man.
No, but it's a great lesson for all you kids. Get your asses out to Aram Nagar today. Okay.
Not today, please. Stay home, guys.
Wait till the police allows you.
And don't literally take your ass to Aram Nagar because
someone will take it.
Yeah,
They'll be happy.
Okay, the producer is screaming in my ear that we need to take a break. But Manas, what I learned, you spoke so much about Spain. I've seen Zindagi Naam Milegi Dobara 4 times, and I haven't heard of as many places in Spain. So I'm going to use this break to do that.
You only know Tomatina. That's all you got from Zindagi Naam Milegi Dobara.
Hey everybody, welcome to another amazing week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We'd like to thank our sponsors this week, Paytm Money, for supporting the network. Guys, you should definitely check out some of the content that we're doing recently, which is somewhat COVID-related. Pawan's been doing an awesome job on the Pragati Podcast. All Thing Policy has also got a tremendous number of really, really great episodes about what's going on and the impact. We talk about this stuff on Cyrus Says, especially in the Cock and Bull episode. On Advertising is Dead, Varun's had a couple of episodes where he's spoken about the impact of this, as is Karthik on the Filter Coffee podcast. And I mean, across the network, definitely do check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy yourself. And with that, let's get you back to your show.
So I'm still cracking up picturing Manas on the Santiago Bernabeu touchline, and he's shouting, Leo ala re, Leo ala. Like, typical Indian media. And if he hasn't done it, I hope he goes and does it. Okay, the next time you're there, Manas, like, you have to keep our station at its highest. Anyway.
You have to scream Sachin in the
Done.
I mean, it's easy doing that when you're sitting at Mumbai Football Arena. But now your challenge is to go to a stadium, even if it's Levante, go there and you get that stadium to shout such.
No. I actually have got an idea for you. You should go to Santiago Bernabeu and shout "Mano ya na mano, sabse behtar Cristiano."
Wow.
Hello, let's move on, guys. I think I feel the need to move on.
I made a lot of Wankhede references over there, though. That's all I've done with that. Mano ya na mano next time.
Well, that's a nice one, Safri. How long have you kept that with you?
Yeah, talk more about it.
40 episodes.
No, but it's awesome. This has been fun. So any other stories you have to share with us, Manas? You've been doing this for Facebook. It's less than a year, no? Like within this last year. So it must be a pretty whirlwind last 6 months. You're currently back in India. Everyone's safe and sound. Your family, everything is all right?
Yeah, man, thanks for asking.
We apologize, we forgot to ask you at the start, but we did ask you off air, so that's fine. Listen, don't judge us.
So yeah, man, my last match, I went to Spain, I think on the 6th of March, the last time. So there was a game between Barcelona and Real Sociedad that I was covering at Camp Nou.
Mm-hmm.
And that was sadly the last game that La Liga that happened at La Liga. So yeah, I was there for Barcelona, and then I've not mentioned this, but in addition to just covering La Liga matches, we are shooting this docu-series.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Behind the Goals. It is also a Facebook property. So basically what I'm doing is I'm going behind the scenes of each of the 20 clubs of La Liga. And this is being done by a separate production house. So this is like a separate entity in itself. And yeah, we're covering each club of La Liga and what goes on behind the scenes. So I'll give you an example, like Leganés. Leganés are known as Los Pepineros. And these stories are really interesting, man. They're known as Los Pepineros because basically for about a century, cucumber has been the most important crop in their livelihood. And Pepineros is Spanish for cucumbers. So we're talking to people, we're talking to cucumber farmers. We are talking to...
What? That is insane.
So in that episode, I got to interview the oldest season ticket holder at Leganés. And this guy's like, I couldn't ask him his age, but he's about 90, I guess. We interviewed him. We interviewed Javier Aguirre, who's one of the most... He's a real charismatic guy. Javier Aguirre is the manager of Leganés. And so, yeah, this is another series that we're doing in addition to me just covering live games. So during the weekend, I'm covering live games. And from Monday to Friday, I'm working with this other production house called...
So this is called Behind the Goals.
Yeah.
Is this out on Facebook? Can we catch it on Facebook, or is it yet to be...
So the first 8 episodes, I think, are out. So first 8 episodes are out. And if you search for Behind the Goals in the search bar on Facebook, you'll get the 8 episodes.
Okay, fantastic. So what are the clubs that you've covered in these 8 episodes? Quickly.
Barca, Atletico Madrid, Leganés, Alaves, Athletic Bilbao, Levante, Valencia. Is that it?
Yeah, it's good enough. These are the big clubs as well.
You're saving Madrid for last, or like the best club.
Well, say that again.
I said you're saving Madrid for last because it's the biggest club, is it?
No, I don't know, man.
He's going by their position on the table.
Oh, from descending order.
Yeah, but it's, on the day we're recording is the day immediately after when the Super Cup final should have happened, the Copa del Rey final. Which would have been awesome because it was an all Basque final. Unfortunately, it is not happening. That's a little bit of a dampener. But I think Shiva and Sapre will agree with me. You guys, when you're made it as a presenter, when you're sitting on a Zoom call and behind you is a photo of yourself. John had it. John Dykes had it in the previous episode.
He did.
He did have a photo of himself. He had a Chelsea jersey with Dykes written on it and signed. Manas literally has a photo of himself.
Oh, wow.
At first I thought it was Messi. But no, that is Manas.
That was a farewell gift my friends from the Glitch gave me. So Sumedh made this great art director at Glitch. He made this on the day of my farewell. So that's why I have
cool. It's better than Karthik because Karthik on my birthday sends me a photo of him. Happy birthday. So,
dude, man. That Bas Derby would have been so crazy.
Yeah.
Bas is a really cool place as well, dude. So I'll tell you a story about how the smallest club in La Liga is Eibar. And Eibar, when I say smallest, they have the smallest stadium capacity in Spain. Ipurua Stadium has about 8,000 people. That's less than Mumbai Football Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing with Eibar is the fact that they don't have their own airport. And I'm in Spain, I'm my own travel agent as well. So I'm coordinating all my travel by myself. So I have to go to Bilbao airport. And Bilbao, the Basque is a community that does not speak English at all. And they have their own language. They don't even speak Spanish. They have a language called Escuela. So this is very adventurous, man, because I have no idea. Very small city. I had to take a bus to Eibar. And over there also there are very few residences. But Eibar turned out to be one of the most special clubs. And on the day I was there, it was Eibar versus Atletico Madrid. And they beat Atletico Madrid 2-1.
Nice.
And the stadium, dude, as I said, I reference Wankhede a lot, right? So Wankhede ke aaspaas wo buildings rehti hain na, where you can actually see people watching the matches from their houses.
Yeah.
So Eibar Stadium is so small, dude. It's surrounded by buildings, and there are actually people watching these matches from the buildings at Ipurua Stadium.
That's mad.
Cheap steaks.
No, I mean, there's only one more. So while we cut into the quiz, which is right after this, there is one more stadium smaller than the Eibar Stadium. Can you guess which one?
In La Liga, I don't think there is. But in Spain, there is. Yeah, I can't.
Not in Spain. This is in London.
There's an Eibar in Delhi
it's
that
called
I used to go to.
Craven Cottage.
cough.
There's 3 people seating capacity who are total fans, and Karthik is international fans.
There are more people who come to the stadium to watch that Michael Jackson statue than people coming to watch a match.
They don't have a museum.
Like I told you all many times, Fulham has the second most celebrity fans in the world. I have after Liverpool.
Where is Fulham playing right now?
Nowhere. We don't get that feed here, Manas. Maybe you can ask Facebook to take it up. Film TV or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool. So, before I cut into the quiz, which is going to be the most fun you guys will have because I'm running it, because I'm the worst person to ask any question for La Liga, and I probably won't know the answer, so which is why I'm running it. Manas, you had a shitload of information about the industry, how you're running, your life right now, including booking your own tickets, figuring out your own travel, and finding your own journey. How can someone get in touch with you?
Oh man, a lot of people have actually got in touch with me on Instagram. So I'm active on Instagram. So just DM me on Instagram and like
I want to give out your handle.
Oh yeah, so at Manas Gera, MANASGERA, and I make it a point that everybody who sends me a question about the career I'm following, I make sure I answer all of them, because it's basically what Anant Tyagi and the rest of them, they did for me, man. So I'm just hoping
that is very sweet.
Yeah,
paying it forward.
Cool.
Yeah, paying it forward, exactly.
Very cool, very cool. Okay, so that was a lot of information, and here is a little more. I have a total of 9 questions, so there's 3 questions for each of you. I'm guessing Manas, Karthik know enough about La Liga. Sapre is also playing along because we have so many questions. So these are not easy, but these are not very tough either. Like some of them might have very obvious answers.
Oh,
cool.
God.
And I also have a tiebreaker right at the end. Cool. Okay. So don't judge me for the questions. If there are incorrect by any reason, keep it to yourself. No one wants to know.
Edit those out.
Yeah,
I don't think for a La Liga quiz you need a tiebreaker, honestly.
Okay, let's go first. So we'll start with Karthik, and we'll give Manas a breather. Karthik. So CR7, also called Cristiano Ronaldo, was originally named Cristiano, right? And Ronaldo was added later. Who was he named after?
Shit, seriously?
No, of course, yes, it's a serious question.
Cristiano.
No, so Cristiano, no, just Ronaldo. Who was the word Ronaldo, like the name Ronaldo, was named after someone because his father was a big fan of this actor who then became a US president. Do we need any more?
Oh, Ronald Reagan.
Thank you.
Yes.
That is half a point.
Oh, boo.
Okay, second question for Sapre.
Okay.
This is easy, but we'll find out. So, Pep Guardiola took over when Pep started managing Barcelona, he took over from? That is not the question. Frank Rijkaard, very good. But before that, Pep had only managed a B side. He had never managed an A side before that. Which team did he manage?
Well, at least let me get half a point. Give me a clue.
Sometimes the obvious answer is the right answer.
Oh, Barcelona.
Yeah.
Correct. Well done.
See,
he managed Barcelona B in 2007 before he took over Barcelona in 2008. Very nice. Cool. So one, I guess Karthik is also at 1. We'll give him that much because he's been very nice to me in the past. All my answers have been Ronaldo consistently. So that is great. Okay, Manas, this is a tough one, but you deserve a tough one. Okay. Messi has spent his entire club career at Barcelona, right? Where he hasn't moved. Yeah. Except for his first youth team. Yeah, he played for an Argentinian youth team back in the day. And this is first club. Name the club.
It's never going to strike me, dude. Like, I knew this, but I'm just...
He was young, but it was a lot of old boys at that club.
Yeah, Old Boys. Old Boys FC, right?
Newell Old Boys.
Newell Old Boys, correct.
Yeah. Nice. It's nice. So let me just give you the answer and repeat it. Thanks.
Yeah.
How many points do I get for that?
I don't know if you're getting any points for that. First I said Old Boys. You said Old Boys FC. Then Karthik said Newell Old Boys. You said, yeah, that.
I like Old Boys FC. Looks like club for me.
Cool. So 1-1-0. Manas, we're being strict here. So Cool. So we'll start with Manas this time around again. And he might have mentioned this in this podcast today. So the biggest ever transfer in La Liga from or to was Neymar, right? He went for £22 million, right?
Yeah.
So
how much did Neymar go for, you said?
22 million.
Okay.
You're fact checking my question ka first half.
Okay, cool. But I thought Euros that was.
ठीक है. That's not the point of the question. I think the question is something different.
Yeah. So in the list of the top most, like the biggest transfers in the La Liga, Neymar is at the top, right? And the following 12 have happened in the decade of 2010 to 2020. Right? But the biggest transfer before that, which was the 2000 and 2010 decade, this biggest transfer happened back in 2001. Who was this player? And I'll give you another hint. That player joined Real Madrid. And he also scored the winner in the same year's Champions League final.
We're not allowed to fact check your questions, right? Because the biggest transfer in 2001 to 2010 definitely didn't happen in 2001. Because in 9, both Ronaldo and Kaká moved to Real Madrid and broke the world record.
So 9 and
before that was Zidane.
Just 9.
Yeah, so he'll have to answer one of those.
So he's right.
Yeah.
Zidane happened in 2001.
Yeah, Zidane happened in 2001.
Oh wow! Yeah, I remember growing up, the highest transfer was Zidane.
Yeah, so there was £77 million or euros or whichever is your exchange. Wait, now
currency of preference.
Yeah, that is 1 point for him. So that's 1-1-1. But Manas has had 2 questions. Sapre.
Yes, Derek.
You've been to Spain now, so you should know this, obviously. So the coat of arms of Madrid
Gone. You're
famously has a bear leaning against a strawberry tree.
A bear leaning against a strawberry tree.
Yeah. So
Okay.
which La Liga club has their badge, which has the same symbols? A bear leaning against a strawberry tree. I knew this before I set it up. I just had to go back and fact check it. I knew it, man.
Does the club currently plays in the La Liga for like the?
Yes, they play in the La Liga. Yeah. Any further question? Do you want me to use it in a sentence?
Osasuna, I don't know what. I don't know. I really don't know.
Do I get
Does
to pass some
anyone else
questions?
Yeah, please feel free. Wait, before that, it has to go to Karthik.
Okay.
I don't know this one, so
No idea.
It's Atletico Madrid.
Manas.
Yeah.
You heard him say that.
Of course I did.
Fine. So Manas gets 2 points. Sapre
Okay.
has 1, and this is Karthik's second question.
Mm-hmm.
So from the year 2000 to 2019, only 4 clubs have won the La Liga title, right? So other than Barcelona and Real Madrid, which are obvious, Atletico have also won it once in 2013-2014. Which other side has won it, and they won it twice?
Valencia.
Which years?
This is tough, yeah. Benitez, but
The crest is simpler one, no?
This is tough. So it was all between, I think, 2001 and 2 I'm going to go for.
Not
Like
right.
2001 and 2001,
Yeah,
1 and 2. Yeah, those are the 2.
Okay, so that is half right. So we'll give you that 1 point you deserve. So you're at 2, Manas is at 2, Sapre is at 1. It's a good answer.
Can I
answer
ask
is
a
good.
follow-up question?
You have a follow-up question. You want to ask me a question?
Shiva, I'm going to ask you a question, dude. Who was the other?
That is not how quizzes work.
Who was the other club apart from these 4 clubs? In this
Deportivo La Coruña, they won in 2000, but
bad idea to ask Shiva questions, dude. Moving on.
yeah, I looked it up, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Proper research for this episode, dude.
I have. Otherwise, I'll get budged out now by these. So I can't afford that.
It's not called research. It's called a stable internet connection.
I did look it up. Shut up, Sapre. Okay, third question. And we go in the reverse order now. Right? So we start with Karthik. Next is Sapre, followed by Manas. Cool. So this club, this is for Karthik, owes its nickname to a song by a band from Liverpool. Name the club and the nickname.
No idea.
I'll give you a hint.
And
The
his
club
old-
lost to Arsenal in 2005 in the Champions League semi-final.
By a band from Liverpool, nickname Yellow Submarine, Beatles. Okay.
Which is the club?
Villarreal. Yeah.
Well done. Karthik is on 3 points.
So there's this other brilliant podcast, the Totally Football Show. This was the exact question they asked yesterday on that podcast.
Oh,
So
really?
just
I did
came-
not. The only reason I remember Villarreal is because they played against Arsenal and Riquelme cried.
We need better researchers. Same questions
That's a
are
very
coming
good
up back to
question.
back.
That was
That is a good question, right? Thank you.
That's a good
Thank you.
question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Shut
But
up.
I'm
Sapre,
dying to
wait.
go to Villarreal. I want to watch Santi Cazorla live once in my life, dude.
Oh yeah, that's true. He might just come to Arsenal, so you never know.
Yeah, there are rumors.
Cool. So Karthik is on 3 points, which is so Sapre is clearly not winning this unless he gets a pass question. But what is new? Only 3 clubs have never been relegated from the La Liga. Barcelona, Real Madrid, and Karthik, you'll get your shot.
No, I don't need one of this. Just let them.
But Valencia.
I'm next now.
That's wrong. Manas.
Athletic Bilbao.
Fantastic.
Yes.
Oh, wow, 4 points. Well done.
Very nice.
Sapri's got 1 point.
We need a tiebreaker or wait, I get a chance
So you're
to
on
win.
4 points. So either you get this.
No, he's on 3 points, man. How
I
is
think
he
I'm-
became on
No,
4?
he got 2 of his own.
And one.
So-
Then one he didn't get of his own, nah. So it's exactly 3.
I've only
Oh, yeah, 3,
got 2
yeah.
questions. Yeah.
3. You got 3 now.
Yeah.
Because you said Atletico Madrid before that.
If I get this, I win, right?
You win
The
outright
question is
because
not
there's
for you. The question is for Sapre. What is this?
No,
Think
the
so.
last question is his.
The question was for me.
Oh,
Yeah. I got 1 question left to win this.
okay.
It passed to him. So if you win
Fine.
this,
Fine.
you are at 4 points. If you don't get this, we need a tiebreaker
Yeah.
between you and Karthik, which I do have, and it'll be a fastest swinger first or whatever. Cool. So what does Luis Enrique, who managed Barcelona from 2014 to 2017, and Julian Lopetegui, who managed Madrid in 2018, have in common?
Okay. They both managed Spain, right? At some point in the last few years. They both were
Fair
Spain
enough, but
managed.
that's not the answer I was looking for.
Okay, wait.
La
Then
Liga. I'm not
think,
looking international.
Lopetegui is doing really well this year, right?
That is besides the point. Don't buy yourself time, Manas. I see all these tactics.
Do you have anything in mind?
I'm thinking. I don't know if
If-
this is true for Lopetegui, but they played for both Real and Barca.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
That is insane. So Karthik gets the 4th point. Shit, that was very good.
Yeah, what a climax.
I also have a tiebreaker if anyone wants to answer. Just for
Me. I will answer the tiebreaker.
Someday. Why don't you get to half of Karthik's points? Last player to move between Barcelona and Real Madrid happened in 2007. Who
Luis
was this player?
Figo.
Wrong.
2007, he's saying now.
7.
He's the last player to move. How did Luis Figo move?
I'm going to guess Javier Saviola.
Well done. Shit, Karthik is insane. Okay, so we have our winner. Karthik outright. Manas, very well tried, man. Almost very close. Just
Thank
the
you,
last one
man.
was a little tricky. We'll give you a half a point for saying Spain, but this was a La Liga quiz. So
Do I
you're
get
still
do I get a participation certificate?
So thank you so much, Gaurav, for joining this.
What does Ayer get for winning this?
He gets to come on the next episode.
Yeah, I remain on the podcast.
I was so close to winning.
That is just us validating his existence. If he doesn't get it, like if there is a Bundesliga podcast like in the future, I won't be here, so he will have to win that also. Cool. This was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun looking up these facts.
Yes, this was excellent, man.
Manas, no, thank you for coming on the episode. It was very informative, actually. It's not every day that we get a chance to hear about these stories about La Liga, what happens behind the scenes, the Basque example that you gave. These are not things that you get on Wikipedia or elsewhere. But yes, what we did, what we would have loved to spend more time was could have been on Baji. But yeah, we'll keep it for another episode when I hope you get him. When you try to get him on the podcast, that will be fun. Yeah. But
Thanks,
thank you.
Gaurav.
This was wonderful, and all the best. Don't travel anywhere right now. Don't try and apply for visas right now.
It's not a good time.
It's not a good time at all.
Not possible.
Yeah. All the best in Aram Nagar.
So if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on our social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I'm Fickleberry Hun on Twitter and Instagram. That's Huckleberry Finn, but Fickle.
And if you want to reach out to me, I am Sapre on Twitter and G Sapre on Instagram.
You can reach out to me at iRant, which is IYERANT on Twitter and Instagram. This is Football Should Ball. Recognize.
Advertising is dead. Yep, you heard me right. Advertising is dead. We're all in the content business now. Let's not call it news, TV, radio, etc., etc. It's all content, and we're in the middle of this weirdly exciting phase where all the borders and lines that have been drawn over decades has been swept away by this lovely thing called the internet. We're a show where we don't dwell on just the stuff that is now, but rather the wider stuff about advertising, media, content, and the whole goddamn circus surrounding it. Tune in every Tuesday for our weekly unboxing of the mystery box we used to call advertising. I'm Varun Dugirala, co-founder and content chief at The Glitch, and this is my new podcast, Advertising is Dead.
Hi guys, this is Ayushi.
And I am Ritasha.
And welcome to Agla Station Adulthood.
It's a fun podcast we've got going on, and we'd love for you to tune in and enjoy with us.
Join us as we stop at various stations and discuss different topics that seem to be bothering us and hopefully
Dating,
you as well.
relationships, beauty, just being an adult, lots of different things.
We don't have a great grip on it, but we've done okay so far.
Catch Agla Station Adulthood every Thursday on the IVM app, the IVM website, or wherever else you get your podcasts.